then we're moving the game on. We spent lots of time looking at how you read online, and in fact, the nice kind of side of this project from a kind of build innovation point of view is that while we were thinking these concepts through, because we had a multidisciplinary team, they were actually trying new ideas out. So here we kind of, we were looking at kind of optimizing the size of the text, formatting, and we were also looking at new ideas like auto scroll, so the text scrolls with you if you leave if you move your mouse from it, and also this idea of a key line that indicates where you are, so you could save that and come back to a long article at another point. You know where you are. These were all, in a sense, experiments, but what they allowed us to do is to kind of move forward and take some of that thinking into actual reality. And I think our basic premise was that if we can show the user all the different aspects and all the different elements that live within an article, i.e. the different components, but then if we allow the user to just focus in on one of those, then we can potentially get that perfect blend of kind of getting the overview, but also getting the kind of uninterrupted view, which I mentioned earlier. And then if we control that uninterrupted view and serve additional information like ads at the right time and the right way, then we begin to get into an interesting balance. And this is what we ended up with, which is this notion of the components of an article essentially floating in a space. And we've ended up putting the body copy behind the image because we want to lead with the image, we want to lead with the headline, lead with the stand first, to try and make it a bit more intriguing in terms of getting to the story. But when you bring the story to the front, that's when we can serve an ad. That's when we can introduce some user controls in terms of the changing size, what have you. But at the same time, you're getting something which is quite stripped back, which is quite simple in the eye, and echoes some of those same traits and values that the print magazine has. So that was one theme. The next theme that we got really excited about, and I love this photograph because this is to me the kind of, in a way, the kind of perfect browse moment of the week. It's the kind of Sunday morning with the paper, and between the project team, we all had different moments during our week of what we consider our best kind of browsing moments. That could be, some people prefer just when they're on the way home, just with their iPhone or their iPod, listening music and just browsing through music. Some people, it was actual papers or magazines. Some people, it was specific sites which they just went back to and they enjoyed that experience. So this led us into another theme, which is around this notion of visual browsing, or in other words, effortless browsing. Now, browsing is always going to require effort, but if we can reduce that and make that easier, in the same way that you do, in the high street, when you're looking at shop windows, you are browsing, and it's actually very easy. You're moving through, and you're seeing stuff, and you're making mental notes, and it's pleasurable, and it becomes reasonably effortless because you're used to it and you're trained to it. Now, there is other devices, and this is a screen grab of Apple's TV system, and this is where you begin to think from a digital point of view how you can make that kind of browsing quite effortless. This is a simple little remote control, which is so easy to use. It's back, forward, up, down, and it's easy. And I think this is where we got inspired with in terms of the controls that we put around the website for browsing. Obviously, Apple is a big influence in most things that happen at the moment, but their cover flow execution of browsing album covers, it's obviously kind of a big influence. A lot of stuff is out there at the moment, but it works. I mean, it's just another way of looking at stuff, and it's, you know, it's much kind of easier than trying to work down through playlists to that level. And there's other experiments out there at the moment which are looking at video walls, looking at how we kind of can search by visual results, how we can shop by more visual browsing-based techniques. All of that moved us back into what we were trying to do, which again was this simple idea that if we can allow the user to see all these components in big, bite-sized chunks that we can let them just click and play, then we are offering them something different than scrolling through pages and deep diving and going down multiple levels in websites. And we wanted to get that notion of moving backwards and forwards could become quite a fluid thing. And this is another grab from the site, which highlights a fashion spread. And here, obviously, there's no story attached to this article, but we can allow the user to quickly bring some stuff forward or quickly go back into that view. And when they go forward, they can move through these really easily. This is not rocket science by any means, but in the world of publishing and how you present content, it actually is quite different. How you decide when you want to serve up related information. Not it's there, first of all, that you've got to wade through and it's cluttering the page. I think these simple techniques, this is a page from more shorter content, more kind of blog-based content. And what we try to do with this, again, is just have a simple scroll mechanism. One thing at a time, you get a subtle hint of the stuff coming at the bottom, that something's appeared off the page. And it goes back to this idea of making it effortless. And I think that is a very good parallel with anything luxury. It's about that sense of enjoyment of using it. You come away and you think, well, you know, I found something or I enjoyed an article, but the process of interacting with it was enjoyable. The third theme, there's more influence in what we've done, but I've picked out a few. The third thing that we realized quite early on is the influence of the influence of movement. And I suppose this is something that that I think most brands should need to kind of face up to in an online world, which is it becomes another kind of brand attribute, how your brand moves, how it behaves, and you add in the mix of sound. How does it sound? And I think this is another way of saying, okay, online can add something extra to my brand. It can add another kind of element to its personality.